where it'll be.
Okay.
Okay. Hello everyone. Welcome to AVG Week 2. We have On the Spot versus Royal Vagabonds, and here to represent or commentate for you is Intensify and
I'm Ignite the Ice. I'll be your analyst this evening.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, I know you're fairly new to the scene. You told me earlier that you want to beat Zero Kills, of course, who is on Royal Vagabond's team. Do you know anything else
Yeah.
about their team?
Not too much, really. I know Zero Kills in his playstyle, and really, that's about it. Haven't got a chance to really see what his team can do, so I'm interested in seeing what we're gonna have on the Rift today.
Awesome. Sorry about my dog. She's going crazy right now.
No worries. Looks like they're still sorting some stuff out on who they're gonna want to ban. As soon as we get some pick bans here, we can start making some predictions or some ideas about what might happen
Yeah,
and
looks like we're
how.
still trying to get everyone in the lobby here too. As I was telling you earlier, uh, did see some switch ups in the rosters recently. Not so much
We
for
did.
RV, but their role at least. So it seems like Conquer is gonna be moving to the jungle with Sidro in top and Stark Queen Asuna in mid lane.
Yeah, so that's actually quite a bit of role swapping around.
Mhm.
So we'll
Yeah.
see how they do in. I don't know if this is their off roles or their new main roles, but I guess we'll find that out.
Yep. So like I said, Sidro actually was a top lane main, or is. So he's in his right role. Conqueror flexes in between mid and jungle, but in my opinion, shows better performances in jungle. So that's his main role. The only
All right,
person
so
who is different for is Stark Queen Asuna in the mid lane. Okay.
draft is starting. All right, blue has the ban. Let's see who they get.
Yep. Guess I'll talk about it a little bit too. We have Beyblade actually subbing in for On the Spot. Looks like most likely in the mid lane with Nikolai going back to the ADC role again for this game. They did win their first game with Royal Vagabonds being 0-1. So from week 1, I guess it's perceived that On the Spot should be slightly stronger, but we'll see, exactly what happens.
Yeah, especially with all the changes that came after week 1. There
Mhm.
was a lot of shakeups with the teams, and obviously a lot of role swapping within the team. So I'm interested to see how they do in their different roles.
Mhm.
Got a Swain ban. Victor and Ziggs on the blue side.
Yeah, so a bunch of mage
Hmm.
bans already.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to target ban out the mid lane maybe here.
Yeah, On the Spot must have scouted something from Stark Queen Asuna trying to pinch his pool, whereas Royal Vagabond's actually sniping away JT Ripper's Swain, which is, I would say, his most comfortable champion.
I wonder if On the Spot is aware of the role swaps that Royal Vagabond has put in place.
Mhm.
They are aware, so yeah, they might be actually then trying to target ban him out.
Yep. And there is the Yasuo ban, which is
Yasuo comes out.
pointed at the Beyblade.
Of course, of course. Oh, and the Yone pick just as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Knew that was coming.
Yeah, of course. And this honestly should be completely expected out of Royal Vagabonds.
Jinx.
Yeah, really good.
Interesting pick.
Really
She's
good
super
first
strong
pick.
right now.
Mhm.
Jinx and Lilia. That gives a kind of an interesting combination for chasing down people as you get team fights going. If Jinx gets revved up and Lilia manages to land asleep, a drowsy, there's not much they're going to be able to do. Jinx will just run in and melt him.
Yeah, that's a pretty exciting combo. Whereas OTS, Amphipod, in my opinion, is a dirty meta abuser. And I say it with all due respect. He's a great person, great jungler, and rightfully taking the Udyr. I think it's a great pickup for him.
Oh, Adir really helps to counter out the Lilia, that's for sure. Volibear again, super strong right now.
Mhm.
I've seen him turn games where his team was incredibly behind just after one item. So that's a pick they're going to have to respect. They're going to probably try and counter pick, I imagine.
Mhm. Now, I think it's interesting. I do believe OTS is kind of forced into this kind of draft, but generally, what you'd want is to see a Volibear flex pick. You know, to either go jungle or top to save some room for maybe some of their bot picks, but it
Right.
looks like they're saving that for later in the draft.
Indeed. Looks like they're trying to save their bot lane.
Lulu
Now,
pickup is
Udyr and Volibear can kind of both flex top, but I haven't seen an Udyr top in a long time, if I'm totally honest. So, I mean,
Yeah.
he's strong right now also, but I don't know that he's strong enough to solo lane. So I'll bet the Volibear is locked into the jungle.
Top lane, yeah.
Or
Or
excuse
you
me,
mean the Udyr? Yeah.
the other way, the backwards.
yeah.
Strike that and reverse it.
Yep. So we do get some Trist bans. AEC bans totally make sense here out of Royal Vagabonds. Seeing as they already have their Jinx locked in.
Trist going down.
I am interested to see if On the Spot continues to pinch Starkbane as soon as mid lane champ pool.
No, they take down the Mordekaiser. And an instant Ash ban.
Yeah.
Interesting. I guess they don't want that slow coming out. I mean, they have the Lulu, the Lilia, the Jinx. They got a lot of movement speed right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in my opinion too, Ash is kind of just a lane neutralizer with how she's able to, you know, force the lane minions to be always low with her W poke.
Yeah.
And it does make sense if you do want to actually try to win the lane with the Jinx Lulu. But I'll be interested to see what comes out of On the Spot.
Well, they banned out the Riven, and so it looks like they're going to pull the Ornn up. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. No, the Riven ban is actually super. It kind of makes sense. Like Starqueen possibly would pull it out mid. He is the Riven player on his team, but I feel like with the team they have already, they shouldn't really be scared of a Riven.
No, I don't feel that Riven would go well into the comp that they've got. I don't think that would be a contester for his mid pick.
Mm-hmm. And the Ornn gets picked up in the solo lane matchup. You know, Volibear, I believe, slightly wins that, but Ornn definitely outscales with his items.
Ornn's ability to enhance not only his items but his team's items is a big deal, especially if you can get your entire team with upgraded mythics. And then you have a real problem if you're on the enemy team at that point.
For sure. It looks like they're really setting up 0 kills to be the hyper carry of this game.
It seems that they're trying to funnel to him for sure. Mm-hmm. And they're saying, no, we want some sort of slow to slow down that team. So they grab the Senna. And if she runs Glacial Augment, she'll be able to slow, and she's got her lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it'll be enough to counter all the movement that the enemy's got, though.
Yeah. And I wonder if they're going to put the Senna as a support, fasting, or AD carry.
Fasting Senna, like Starving Senna, is outrageously strong if done correctly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like I've seen it just take over games, but I've also seen it played improperly and fall on its face. Looks like they might be doing the Fasting Senna there, pulling out the Ezreal.
Well, so that's actually just a support Senna. In this case, I don't actually know what the difference between support Senna and fasting Senna is, but I believe this is a support Senna.
I think technically it's the same thing. You still run a support item, and you still let the other person kill the minions so that you can get your orbs.
Mm-hmm. And then the Zed lock in last pick is. You know, I actually kind of like it. It's good in Dione. It can kill Senna. It can kill Ezreal.
He can
hell,
stick
if it gets
to
fed
Ezreal.
enough, it can kill Udyr or Volibear, but.
Yeah, he can stick to Ezreal really well. Ezreal's jump is nullified. All he has to do is just ult him, and Ezreal's not getting away. Senna's heal might be able to mitigate a bunch of the Zed ult, but I don't know that it'll be enough to keep him from actually taking her down.
And you know, all my doubts about Royal Vagabonds you know, from the first week, it looks like they've fixed. I was really worried that they'd continue to draft poorly after their first game, but I really like this draft. I think it's pretty clean out of them, and I'm super excited to see if they can pull this one out.
The draft does seem to have more of a cohesive like identity to it than their week 1 draft for sure.
Hmm.
They seem to know where they want to go and how they want to get there.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
OTS, it looks like they're kind of stacking the beef right now, like with the Udyr and the Volibear. It gives a
Yeah.
chance for the Yone to get in there, but I honestly I'm a little unsure about the Ezreal pick with the rest of the comp that they've got and then the enemy's comp. I'm not quite sure how well he's going to do into them. It just doesn't seem that he has enough damage to deal with the with what the enemy's going to be giving him.
Yeah, I am also equally worried about this B4, B5 pick out of Senna Ezreal, or that is the Senna Ezreal. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they're a full AD now. I mean, obviously there's some slight mixed damage out of Udyr, Volibear, Ezreal, but this Ornn's gonna have a field day with just building armor.
Yeah, the Ornn's in a really good spot right now.
And honestly, I'm really surprised because JT Ripper plays a lot of really good mage supports. And looking at this comp, to me, it almost looks pretty good for like a Brand or a Zyra here,
Right?
because that's what he's comfortable playing, and they're able to get the magic damage in. So I'm wondering why go full 5 AD here, but
Same here. Same here. I honestly thought they were going to go with more of an AP carry next to the Senna.
hmm
You know, maybe even a Lux or a Morg, somebody with a little bit of lockdown, because they
yeah,
really don't have very much CC on that team.
yep,
What you got? Nudir stun, and then you got the Yone ult, and if Senna can land her lockdown, but all of those are really short. Like you build tenacity into that, and you're getting out quick. So the amount of
yeah,
CC they have is limited. So I was kind of
hmm
expecting to see some sort of APCC champ come out in the bot lane with Senna, but it's just not there. So I'm curious as to what they're going to do.
yeah.
No
And
AP
now,
damage.
if you were to ask me what is the tipping point for each team, like who needs to get ahead, I think the onus is definitely on the Udyr and the Lilia to enable their laners to find good counter jungles to get the early objectives. And even if on the spot gets ahead in those, I do believe that Royal Vagabonds has a really good chance at coming back into the game. So I do think this is an uphill battle out of on the spot. But what do
I
I know?
agree. No, I agree with you. I completely agree with you. Just based on the comp right now, I'm gonna have to give my vote over to Royal Vagabonds. I feel they have a stronger comp and a little more cohesive identity as a team.
hmm
Uh, it, it almost feels like random picks coming out of OTS, if I'm honest. But they have some sort of plan in mind, I'm sure, that I'm just not seeing. So it's interesting to see what's going to unfold and how they plan to utilize this comp against what Royal Vagabonds has set up.
Right. One last second as we look at this draft. Like I said earlier, I do believe that on the spot was almost forced into these first 3 picks. I think that Zealot almost was always going to pick Volibear here. Amphipod always wanted, either Hecarim or Udyr in the jungle, and of course
Right.
Blade's always going to first pick his Yone if it's up.
Of course.
So, I mean, under those circumstances, I'm very questioned like why this Senna Ezreal, but maybe who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe they'll make it work.
I'm interesting to see if they can.
hmm
It looks like Royal Vagabonds did their homework against OTS. If I'm honest, they seem to have an understanding of the picks that they were going to pull out and knew exactly how to counter those. But we'll have to see. Like, just because you're in a counter matchup does not mean that you lose. Like,
yeah, exactly. And honestly, other than maybe bot lane, I mean, on the spots mid lane, Star Queen Asuna is a strong player. I don't know about his Zed, but I do know that Blade's Yone is decently strong, and I do believe that Volibear should win top. So You know, who
I
knows? Maybe
agree.
they can just get it rolling and be way too far ahead for anything to happen.
If Volibear can get rolling, I believe so. If Yone can get rolling, more than likely. The only problem I see with Yone getting rolling is he and Zed hitting 6. Once they hit 6, you know, if Yone tries to ult Zed, Zed just ults him right back. All the
Yeah.
damage from Yone's just gone. So he's going to have to play to the early game to try and get super strong and bully the Zed back into his lane. Otherwise, I think he's going to have a tough time, especially with Zed's ability to throw his shuriken.
Yeah, I do believe that is after 6, definitely a Zed favored lane, especially with jungler intervention.
Yeah. So we'll see if we get any early ganks out of Udyr on the mid lane.
I wonder if Zealot ever pulls out some sort of AP hybrid Volibear here too. I
just
definitely
to try
think
and get
it's
some
viable.
damage against the Ornn, or
Yeah.
I mean, and pull some
Just
AP
in
for his
general,
team
yeah.
overall.
Yeah.
It
Maybe
makes
an
sense.
Asher's, maybe
I've seen the Nashers on the Volibear. It's kind of scary, if I'm honest.
yeah,
It
maybe
wouldn't
a
be
Rift
surprising.
Maker or something. I'm not sure.
Indeed.
I do think that if this game goes the way I think it's going to go with RV, winning team fights, I want to see just how clean their team fights are, because to me this is a very, very good team fight comp, albeit there's a Zed.
Yes.
And I want to see, if the Ornn front lines properly, if the Lilia can get in and out of fights, if Zed assassinates his targets properly, if Zero Kills can kite, if Lulu can get her polymorphs off. It'll be interesting, and I do think that'll be, if they can pull this off, that it will be very scary to play against drafts like this in the future against real Vagabonds.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Lulu is super scary with what she can do, because if she can polymorph, let's just say the Yone, and then ult, let's just say the Ornn, like so that their backline can stay intact and just keep pecking away at them, like there's not, that's a horrible combo to try and face in the enemy's shoes at that point. Like your main damage is out, and the enemy's main damage is huge because Lulu just boosted him up with her ult.
Yeah. I don't think we're on stream in the loading screen yet, but I will spoil it. Okay. We're still streamed, right? Okay. So I will spoil it for everyone. We are seeing heal barrier out of both bot lanes here, which is very unorthodox. And I'm not really sure who it benefits. I would have liked to see Lulu take exhaust here because it hard counters Yone.
Exactly. I would have liked to see exhaust or maybe some ignite to stop the Senna from being able to heal. I don't quite understand the barrier heal bot lane, if I'm honest. But let's go with they know something that I don't. And they're about to show us some stuff.
I think
Glacial
the thought
augment on the
process
Senna
is that it's possible both bot lanes are never within, range to ignite or exhaust. It could be very pokey out of both of them, with Jinx rocketing and Wing, Ezreal throwing out Q, Senna queuing through minions.
They are both going Conqueror as if they intend to stay back as far as possible.
Yeah.
Just to try and get those stacks up. Oh, looks like we're loading in.
Yep. Enemy, should we pause right away? Alright. Okay.
Alright, so we're paused.
Yep.
Let's see. The Glacial Augment on the Senna, that was expected. Try and slow down the enemy team because they got a lot of movement speed. I guess I was... Well, that's not bad, though. On Lulu, the Guardian, that's not bad.
Yeah, for sure. It's really good into poke comps. I think the only other option is Airy, which I feel is inferior in this game. The only other weird thing we can talk about is the Conqueror Jinx, which I think it's good, but some AD carry mains who play the champ a lot might prefer lethal tempo or fleet footwork or something like that. I think it's totally a matter of preference, and if you think that team fights are going to be long, if she can get her Conqueror stacked or what.
I'm assuming that's what she's thinking because they have the Volibear and the Udyr she's going to have to try and cut down. So I'm guessing that she's just going, okay, these fights are going to last for, 10 seconds plus every time we go in. So I'm going to need to be able to heal back up a little bit if I take some damage. Otherwise, they're going to be a 4v5.
And I'll throw out an interesting Zed tidbit. When playing against Zed in lane, level 1, I believe if he doesn't take any CDR runes, his Q is always coming back up once he reaches 100 energy. I believe. That's what I've noticed.
Interesting.
Yep. So you can use that information once he gets close to 100 energy to start bobbing back and forth to try to get it out of him.
Indeed, no invade from either side. They're just going straight for leashing. Now, I'm curious to see where Udyr goes, if he decides to gank mid after his first rotation, or what, just based on the need for Yone to get ahead of Zed in this early game.
Honestly, Amphipod to me is kind of the guy that will always full clear if given the opportunity to, so most likely I believe he's just going to full clear into top Scuttle, and then either get a base, or maybe look to steal away the top Krugs if they're not up. And I believe, like I said, he's kind of a dirty meta abuser, so I believe he probably would just back and buy Lucidity Boots if he has it. Bot lane going even so far, both getting level 2 at the same time.
Interesting.
And we do see pretty standard clears out of both sides, going from top to bottom, which is kind of interesting to me considering that we have pretty much a meatball lane in the top lane. Yeah. However, Zella is hard pushing this lane, so there might be an opportunity to get a gank off here.
Volibear is shoving hard. Yone says, I'm gonna check out, make sure there's nobody in the jungle. Tosses a deep ward. So now both junglers are near top lane. Now I'm wondering, are we going to see a scuttle fight here, or are they just going to pull back in and look for a gank? It looks like Volibear got vision on the scuttle.
I would prefer if Conquer walked bot here, because this is always going to happen. I don't think they ever win the scuttle fight. I would have liked to see him just walk the bot scuttle and take that one.
I think so, yeah.
Either that or take a base.
To back.
Yep, taking a base
and
is also
Udyr's going to take the first scuttle on the Rift side. Bot lane getting pushed in by the Ezreal Senna. Showing itself to be a little bit stronger than I had first anticipated.
Yep.
But top, we got Volibear going in.
Nice little trade coming out of him. Like I said, Volibear should always win this lane early.
They're able to stay pretty even on damage. Both of them about half health right now. Volibear still looking to be aggressive.
Yep. One thing you will notice though is that Sidro has used both of his health pots, whereas Volibear has only used his one, and he's got the mana differential right now because of his Doran's Ring.
He's a little low on mana. Again, Volibear looking to be aggressive. We're going to see a tower dive? I don't think so. He's going to back out. Yone getting pushed in by the Zed on mid lane.
Yep. And I do like I do like Lilia's pathing. Full clearing, acknowledging that he's not gonna get either scuttle, basing and getting Darkseal boots. I think that Darkseal is very underestimated right now. A very good item and can help easily snowball leads.
True, true. Also a little bit of a gamble with the Darkseal though. If you don't get it snowballed, you're in trouble. It looks like the Lilia is roaming up. Let's see if we got a gank on the top lane.
Yeah, it should be an easy first blood.
First blood going over to Royal Vagabonds.
Has a very well spotted out of Conquer, and maybe if someone on OTS's team had better knowledge of jungle clear timings and stuff like that, they could have pinged it out.
He was a little pushed up, honestly, for where Lilia was. He didn't burn his flash on that, though. He knew he was dead. He just took it. Ornn did burn his flash, so now the advantage in the lane goes back over to Volibear. But we'll see if Udyr does anything with the knowledge of where Lilia is right now. Oh, Zed doing some damage to Yone in mid, but Udyr coming in to say, back off.
Yep. And that was a trade of alt plus ignite for Yone's flash, which in the short term can benefit Yone.
Zed a little hungry still.
Oh, this is interesting. Udyr's got a
Do we have? Oh, Udyr goes in, gets the stun. Yone gets the ult off, and down goes Zed.
That was very well played out of them. Very well played to go for that flash play into ult. Whoever called that is a genius.
That was fast and clean. That's what that was. That was well executed from OTS.
Yep. And Yone actually living just barely. He actually missed his W when he went in, which is super scary for him, but they made it happen.
In the end, it worked out. He's gaining a CS lead now on the Zed. Like I said, this early game was super important, so that CS lead was probably just enough to get him what he needed. Plus the Udyr gank, of course.
Yeah, and that's really bad news for Star Queen Asuna in the mid lane.
It is.
Good unstoppable
going
there
on top.
Out of Ornn.
Still gets chunked for about 30% of his health. He's having a tough time up here, but Lilia seems to be just letting him alone at this moment.
Yep.
Saying, sorry, I'm bot lane. You're going to have to deal with it yourself. Oh, he goes in. Volibear deciding, I want this fight.
Interesting trade. I think Volley still wins this.
The ult from Ornn comes out, but to no real avail.
Yep. Maybe the skill ordering could have been slightly better out of Sidra there, but it's somewhat of an even trade. I mean, Zola does keep his ult.
Now, interesting. Oh, Yone going in on the Zed. Lilia coming in for a gank. There. It's interesting seeing this Volley continue to push in the top lane, as forcing Lilia to stay on the bot or the top side of the map, and is giving their bot a chance to stay ahead. She doesn't really have to go down there, so they're focusing on what appears to be their top side. But we got a fight breaking out in the river. Lilia gets drowsied. Oh, and the Zed and the Yone. It's gonna get crazy.
Oh jeez.
The Volibear goes in, the Udyr goes in, he drops onto the Ornn.
And that's gonna be a 1 for 2 for Royal Vagabond, or for on the spot. Pretty well played out of them.
Double kill going out onto the Udyr. Senna ult comes out. Ezreal ult comes out. Bot lane has no ults now, and Udyr's still chasing the Zed. He thinks he's gonna get him, but Zed gets out. Oh, and Jinx brought crazy low with a beautiful shot from the Ezreal. They're having a lot more trouble this bot lane than I expected them to. I was kind of seeing more the Ezreal Senna having the rougher matchup, but they're saying no. We're 15 CS ahead of you, and we want to keep it that way.
Yeah, and I think I think the reasoning for that is, Senna wants to auto attack the wave to get her Q back off cooldown. So it's gonna always be pushing into RV's territory, because generally for Lulu to get the push, she has to, use her E on the wave or the Q on the wave, and it's generally just not as fast as Senna's push. So while Ezreal and Jinx might be somewhat similar in push timing, I do believe it favors on the spot because of the Senna difference.
Yeah, and of course when Senna throws out any heal, also she's damaging the wave, so the wave's going to almost auto-push like a Tristana.
Yeah.
Everything kind of quieting down across the map as the teams plan their next move.
I do want to say about that previous play in the top side, it was very forced out of Conquer, and I kind of would have rather him just played it slow, scaled up, got his farm, do what he needs to do, instead of forcing an engage there, because he did have 2 Darksteel stacks, which he no longer has.
Oh, and Udyr going in on the Zed in the bot lane river. Zed getting the ult off on the Udyr. Lilia coming in. It's a 4v1. The Udyr running out saying, I don't want any of that.
Yeah, and honestly, that was pretty clean out of Amphipod. Getting the Zed R, getting the Zed Ignite takes so much pressure off the Yone.
It does. Yone can really abuse him now in mid lane. And he's already having trouble with the Lilia ganks. Volibear still pushing in top lane. Ornn having a little bit of trouble. It looks like we're trying to see another fight in River, maybe?
Yeah, this is going to be a dragon fight. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Ornn TPing in.
Amphipod being brought super low, but he goes in. He says, the stun is mine. I want you, Lulu. But Lulu gets her ult off.
Beyblade going
Ornn.
wide on the R. Ornn in the middle of it.
Oh, Ornn goes down.
This is a big ult out of Lilia. Let's see what happens from it. Where's Jinx at? Jinx is fighting the Senna down the bot side.
Royal Vagabonds getting brought incredibly low.
And that should be a 3k gold lead plus 2 dragon lead out of on the spot.
Yep. OTS now with a free dragon. Royal Vagabonds on their back foot, kind of feeling like they're against the ropes.
Yeah, and you know, we kind of said this might happen, but I do think some of the problems arise, you know, out of that earlier fight top side. You know, instead of power farming, instead of just staying in the game farm wise, they're deciding to fight when they really don't need to.
Exactly.
And I do feel like Stark being in the mid lane kind of is feeling forced to like have to carry against Beyblade, whereas I feel like he should just farm, and he's gonna have enough damage later on anyways to kill both the carries.
Yeah, yeah. I'm under the same impression.
Mhm.
He seems to be doing his best to try and pull that off, at least with what he can work with.
Yeah.
He is keeping up with CS with Yone, even despite the kill disparity.
Mhm.
I'm curious to see what happens when team fights start arising, though, because right now it looks like laning phase is going heavily on the side of OTS. But Royal Vagabonds, once the team fight starts, their movement speed has the ability to really, really get positioning on lock. And with perfect positioning, they can cut apart this team, despite their lead.
Yeah, I think what I would like to see out of OTS right now is Beyblade trying to get the ults onto the Jinx, Amphipod running past the enemy team, you know, using Turbo Chem Tank and just sitting on top of her with the Ezreal, Senna Snipe on top of that, and just deleting this Jinx out of the game entirely. Because after that, they don't have consistent damage. The only consistent damage they have is Lilia, and she's so squishy, it's insane.
Exactly. It looks like most of the damage is going to be having to be put out by Jinx from the bot lane, and being a little bit behind, she's going to have trouble doing that.
Mhm.
Oh, the Lilia throws a gank bot lane, gets the Drowsy off onto the Ezreal. The traps on the Ezreal also. Will he go down? No.
Good attempted gank there out of Conqueror. Like I said earlier, I don't think it fits their plan to make ganks like that happen. I would much rather him just be, you know, taking his bot side of the jungle. But you know, it is what it is. That's what they planned for, and maybe it works out. Although there is a rift going down top lane.
Right.
Lilia is nowhere to be found, and
I think we're going to see that top turret fall. And indeed, first turret goes to blue team. Ha! First blue turret goes to team. Yes. Volibear recalling, saying, "All right, I got enough gold for this." Top lane's in a little bit of trouble now. Ornn unable to really get going. Now almost 30 CS behind the Volibear, and without Ornn really able to go, it's really hard to get the Jinx going with her already behind, because he's going to have trouble upgrading her Mythic.
This is an insanely dangerous fight out of RV, but looks like it's just working.
Excellent mechanics on the Jinx part, just takes them both down.
Yeah, but like that was perfect until Conqueror said, "Hey, I think Ezreal deserves a kill," and walked right into him.
Right. Not quite sure I understand that move. Well played by the Jinx and the Lulu, though, to make sure they took advantage of that small mistake and get what they could out of it. That helps bring Royal Vags back into the game a bit, shrinking their gold lead down to only about 4k now. Still not what you want to see from their side. You know, you'd rather you had a 4k lead instead of a 4k deficit, but...
Yeah, of course. But this is still manageable for them, especially with 2 kills going towards Jinx.
Yeah, getting the Jinx spiraled up is going to be, I think, the kill condition and win condition for Royal Vagabonds. I think that's where they're going to get most of... Oh, and the Udyr says, "No, you need it, Senna, you need it."
Yeah, giving it over to Senna. I think that's totally okay. Obviously you'd want that on the Ezreal, but Senna's just as fine. It's just another way to
I'm
carry.
true. I'm a little curious with that move, though. I feel the Udyr like should be snowballing his lead a little bit harder, being 3-0. He has like an enormous impact on this game. He's already mid. They take down the turret. Maybe he doesn't need any more gold. Another turret falls
Yeah.
to OTS. Royal
Honestly,
Vagabonds
with this
kind of
kill lead
struggling.
Udyr has, with the 30 CS lead he has, I mean, another kill, especially of a support, is just it's kind of unnecessary to put it in his pocket at this time. Make sure the rest of your team, gets the gold they need to stay in the game. And hell, you got a 6.5k gold lead. This game, in my opinion, should be pretty doomed for Royal Vagabonds. But there's always that off chance that Sidra just gets way too tanky. I would like to see a clean end to this game out of on the spot though, especially with this dragon lead.
Yeah, as long as they keep up the pressure that they've got, it just feels like Royal Vagabonds is on their back foot. It feels like they're, despite having a cohesive team identity, they really are unsure of how to approach this enemy.
Yep. Not the owner, of course. I do think that
of course not.
Yeah, I do think that part of the, I mean, obviously part of the reasoning for them getting so far behind here is the forced fights that they didn't need to take. But I also think that the Zed mid lane, yes, of course, it can win the mid 1v1. But in my opinion, Lily is a farming jungler, like farming harder than Udyr. And you should kind of just get some kind of like Orianna here would be amazing out of Stark Minasuna. Some kind of team fight control mage.
I think
that can literally
Orianna would have
just
been
wave
an
clear.
epic pick.
Mhm.
Oh, some
But
neat
ins-
moves from Star Queen.
Mhm.
He says no, right back at him, but Udyr coming in along with the Senna, he has to back out. He's in trouble now. Lilia trying to give him some defense. Is
Blade
it
going
enough?
wide
It looks
again.
like it might be.
That's a fast
What?
bear. What the hell? He's on Lilia. Under a tower. She's getting stomped.
Polar Bear
Zealot
says
I'm
no.
gonna eat deer for breakfast.
Yes, he has venison.
Holy moly! And this is
OTS.
just RV getting run
man.
over.
Wow. OTS just rolls over RV in their own jungle, and that'll be at least one more tower, maybe a second, and possibly even the inhibitor. There's large death timers they still have to go through. 20 seconds each still.
Yep. Personally, I don't think they should take the inhib here. It's a good call to back off.
Yep. They agree.
Otherwise, they would just feed gold into the enemy team, and I don't think that's necessary. And kind of what just happened was exactly what we were talking about beforehand, with the Zed pick needing to be in melee range, needing to overstep his boundaries when the team does not want to do that.
Exactly.
So you're gonna find yourself like, oh, I have to kill this guy, or I have to go in, and then the Udyr is just running him down. It's impossible.
Yeah, you're starting to feel a little desperate. It looks like Zed is feeling a little bit desperate again. The Udyr says,
Yeah.
"No, I own this jungle. This is mine." Chases RV out of their own jungle.
Yeah, and like, I was not expecting Bambi version 2 to come out this quickly. Honestly.
I gotta admit that I wasn't either.
Yeah. usually, I mean, Bambi 1 ended with Graves, but like Bambi 2, who knew it was gonna be a Baron coming at her or coming
Right?
at him? Is Bambi a guy or a girl?
I think it's a girl. Oh,
Chat,
Bambi
we
himself
need
is a
your
guy.
help.
Bambi's a guy. Lily is a girl.
Bambi's
Bambi's a guy. Rift going down to OTS again. Royal Vagabonds trying to contest a little bit, but nothing going to happen. They're going to try for the team fight. The Yone ult, the Ezreal ult. Oh, they're getting pushed back. Royal Vagabonds in serious trouble now. Their health bars are falling super low. OTS just says, "This is our game, boys."
Yep. There's the Zed all in, and he can't do anything into
The
a
Zed ult's
a
to
Senna
no
with
avail.
heal and barrier.
Lulu ult comes out, but it does nothing. And OTS is going
That
to
should be
wipe
Baron.
Royal Vagabonds in the second fight.
Yep.
This is going to at least be in the inhibitor, and we'll see if they go for Baron or if they decide
wanna
we're going
end.
to try for just ending this thing.
Yeah, they
Get out a
wanna end.
20-minute game.
I think
It
that's
is-
the only other option. You either end or you Baron here.
And they're going to play it safe, it looks like. Looks like they're going to pull it back out and reset, it looks like.
I do
Udyr
not like that
backing,
call.
Senna backing. I'm not sure that's the best call either, but they're winning it. So
Yeah, I mean it's their win, not mine. But I would have took Baron there. I think that was the smarter play. This is less optimal to me. Like I said earlier, I don't think feeding gold through a inhib is good. However, it does give them some pressure on the map, especially with Zed's low wave clear right now.
yeah, I think if you're going to go for that inhib, you need to go for one of the Nexus towers also. Otherwise, just pull off of it early and get the Baron. That way you can make a super hard shove that will bring the inhib and at least one Nexus tower down.
Yep. I honestly think that they're not going to get punished for it though whatsoever, because honestly,
I mean,
RV has to contest this dragon, and for them to do that, we're gonna just see Bambi 3 come out. Like this is scary, honestly. Look at him.
There's just not enough damage coming out of the Jinx. The Jinx gets locked down by the Udyr and the Volibear and gets wiped. Lulu and Lilia trying to get out, but the Ezreal ult comes down, bringing Lulu to half. She's not going to be able to survive this. Gets her ult out. Oh, she does survive, though, proving me a liar as she gets out under the tower from the Volibear. The Ornn, taking a lot of damage, does go down to the Senna, and the Volibear still chasing the Lilia. Wants the venison again. He got a taste for it that once, and he says, I like it.
Yep. I think
Royal Vagabonds in trouble now. I'm not sure that they can pull out of this. They're going to need a pretty epic team fight to turn this around, I think.
Yep. I said it 5 minutes ago that this should be a clean end out of on the spot, and so far it has been. I mean,
so far that's exactly what they're doing. A little in my own personal opinion, they're going about it a little slow, but you know the safe route is sometimes the best route.
Yeah, of course, especially when you're playing against a team that you don't scale well against. Making sure they don't give up unnecessary gold leads is, I'm fine with it. If they want to play safe to the end, I'm fine with it. Let's just make it clean.
Right. Jinx still trying her best to get some farm in, to get some gold up so she can get some damage off. Still only one item in. Royal Vagabonds has had a tough game this game. Most of their players are only one item in, 1.5 items in, and you look over at the side of OTS and everybody's got 1 full, 2 full, 2 full and some change. Like, really looking strong, and an 11k gold lead to top it off. So it's kind of bleak in the side of Royal Vagabonds right now.
Yep.
But I've seen crazier things happen, so.
This is pretty crazy. I think the saddest part about this game for Royal Vagabonds, it has to be.
Lilia just deleted.
It has to be this Zed. I mean, you got 2 chunkers that can literally just destroy you in a half second, and you're supposed to kill the Senna Ezreal who has heal barrier. It's pretty doomed at this point.
It's pretty tough. He's looking at a real tough job, and the game speaks to that as well. It speaks to the difficulty that he had in lane.
Yep.
Most surprising to me. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say on the upside for Royal Vagabonds, coming into week 3, I did like their draft. It should be pretty easy to say, if we have the Lilia, we power farm, we pick a safe mid laner, and we scale. It should be an easy fix, and I would love to see that out of them next week if they want to continue with the same draft.
OTS just says, no, this is ours. We're just going to do what we want.
Jeez.
They take the tower. They take down RB. That's an ace. I think this game goes to OTS. I think they're going to end it right here. With a spectacular performance. Almost a 14k gold lead.
Very well
played on the side of OTS. They snowballed off of that first kill in mid lane tremendously well.
Yep. Awesome. Well, I don't know if it's happening right away, but we should be getting. Oh, there's John. John. Okay, so Firelighter. If you don't know, this is John, the captain of On the Spot, and we will be interviewing him for his winners match. Hey, John, how's it going?
All right, John.
Pretty good, guys. Nice to meet you, Mr. Firelighter.
Indeed, nice to meet you. That was a great game out there for you guys. Looks like you You executed exactly what your plan was.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep. So
sorry, what were you gonna say?
Sorry. So from my point of view, Royal Vagabonds for the most part, had a very clean draft, whereas yours was obviously lacking in some magic damage. What was kind of the thought process going into, okay, we have the Yone and then the Udyr Volibear, and then you just completely say, hey, we don't need AP, right? We're just gonna go send Ezreal and make it happen, and you did. I mean, what was the thought process there?
So, actually, it was kind of the not the opposite, but heading into draft, it was actually our plan to take away a lot of the magic damage from their draft. I mean, they had the Lilia, they had the Ornn. We didn't really necessarily anticipate those picks, but we were fine with it because I'm not sure what the logic was, but we got away with the Yone.
Yeah.
It's definitely like one of Blade's best champions.
Yeah, for sure.
But as far as the lack of AD on our end, Volibear has a lot of magic damage built into his kit. Udyr with the Phoenix has a lot of magic damage built into his kit, and it doesn't scale off until late. Yone does split magic damage. Ezreal does split magic damage, so it wasn't really a concern on our end.
Okay. So other than that, I mean, do you have anything to say about that game in particular? Did it go as cleanly as you hoped for?
Honestly, if I had any like unique thoughts on the game, it would be that for what it's worth, their draft wound up being nothing like what I expected. I think that a lot of their better players were not on champions that they were comfortable with. And I think that's why we were able to take it, because I think they're a strong team. But for what it's worth, their comp itself wound up pretty good.
Overall, they had a pretty complete team identity. What were you thinking when you saw that? Were you worried with your team comp, especially getting, pulling out the Yone immediately on Beyblade? Did you have any concerns about like the identity of that team? Because they were made to chase you guys down,
Really no. Once we saw the Yone, we grabbed it, and when we saw that they left the Volibear Udyr up with no bans towards the Udyr, and they left the Volibear up when one of their I think Sidro and Conquer both play Volibear to some extent. And when we saw that those two picks were available to us after Yone, we were like, okay, this is our game to lose.
Gotcha. Well, thank you so much, John, for joining us here, and congratulations on your second win of the season. That's pretty impressive so far. Undefeated. I'm looking forward to next week. Yep.
Thank you, guys.
Yep. All right, and that is it for Firelighter and I. We will be heading it off to, I believe, Mo and Red Panda will be your commentators for the next game. That is Hot Take versus I believe La Espada. Don't quote me on that, but I believe La Espada.
I believe it's La
So
Espada
stay
and
tuned.
Complex.